Imagine a world where pigeons were trained as secret weapons, icebergs were carved into aircraft carriers, and soldiers fought battles not just against men, but against famine, frostbite, and sheer madness. Wait, let's start with one of the cruelest ideas: anti-tank dogs. The Soviet Union trained hungry dogs to run under German tanks with explosives strapped to their backs. The concept? The dog would crawl beneath the vehicle, and the bomb would detonate. But there was a flaw. Many dogs ran back to their Soviet handlers, detonating among their own troops. A tragic story of desperation, where even man's best friend was turned into a weapon. Now picture this: a massive aircraft carrier made of ice. Yes, ice. The British developed Project Habakkuk, planning to build a floating fortress from frozen wood pulp and water, supposedly unsinkable and cheap. A prototype was actually built in Canada, and it survived for months before melting away. It sounds absurd, but at the time it was considered a potential game changer. Meanwhile, in the U.S. Army, there was an entire unit armed not with guns, but with inflatable tanks, sound trucks, and fake radio chatter. Known as the Ghost Army, they fooled German forces by creating entire phantom divisions. Their deception was so convincing that Nazi generals shifted troops to fight armies that didn't exist, saving countless Allied lives. Japan, on the other hand, launched an eerie weapon across the Pacific: balloon bombs. Carried by the jet stream, these bombs floated thousands of miles, reaching the U.S. and Canada. One tragic incident in Oregon killed 6 civilians, including children, the only deaths from enemy action on mainland America during World War II. But it gets stranger. The British developed a plan to stuff dead rats with explosives, hoping German workers would toss them into boilers, where they would detonate. Thousands of these booby-trapped rats were prepared, but the plan was uncovered before it could be deployed. Still, the Germans were so paranoid afterward that they wasted resources hunting for more explosive rats. On the darker side, cruelty reached terrifying extremes. In Japan's Unit 731, thousands of prisoners were subjected to biological experiments, from frostbite tests to deliberate infections with plague. These atrocities remind us that behind every strategy were real human lives, often sacrificed in the name of ruthless ambition. From ice carriers to explosive rats, ghost armies to kamikaze dogs, WWII was more than a battlefield. It was a testing ground for human creativity and human cruelty. These bizarre, rare, and mind-bending events remind us that in war, desperation pushes nations to ideas both ingenious and horrifying.